You ever notice how every reliable 9mm conversation ends the same way? Somebody says Glock, everybody nods, and the whole debate just dies right there. But what if you don't want another Glock? What if you still want a 9mm pistol that won't let you down in 2026 without getting handed the same answer everybody else is buying? That's what this list is really about. Yeah, I'm not here to bash Glock. I'm here for the shooter who wants something different, but still needs real confidence when the range gets dirty, the weather turns bad, or the nightstand suddenly matters. Because no Glock should not mean take a gamble. Over the past year, I kept watching the pistols that didn't need excuses. Some are obvious, some are risky. One almost didn't make the list at all, and the last pick, I nearly gave up on it until it proved something I didn't see coming. I didn't expect the Ruger RXM to be the first pistol here that made me stop and pay attention. At the counter, it doesn't scream special. It doesn't look expensive. It doesn't beg for respect. But last month, when the rain came in hard and the range started turning into mud, the RXM kept making its case. Everybody was packing up early. Hands were slick, ammo boxes were getting wet, and a couple of better-known pistols started acting picky. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just wanted a few more clean strings before the sky opened up. The RXM had been riding in my truck all week, dirty from job site dust, and I hadn't cleaned it since the last range day. I loaded it with cheap brass and some old steel case ammo I probably should have thrown away. Mag in, rack it, press. It ran like it didn't care. No feed issue, no drama, no warning sign that made me slow down and baby it. That's the part that matters if you're skipping Glock. The RXM gives you that simple, boring confidence people usually chase from the obvious name, without making you buy the same pistol everybody else did. It isn't flashy, it isn't fancy. But in 2026, dependable matters more than impressive. And sometimes the pistol that doesn't look like much is the one that refuses to let you down. I used to roll my eyes every time somebody called the PSA Dagger Compact a Glock killer. That label has been slapped on too many pistols that showed up loud, promised everything, then disappeared the second real shooter started pushing them. So I didn't trust the Dagger at first. Not because it looked bad, because it looked too cheap to be this confident. A couple months back, I took one out with the wrong attitude. I wasn't babying it. I ran dirty ammo, moved fast through mag changes, let it hit the dust, and kept waiting for the moment where the budget price finally showed up. It never really did. The trigger was cleaner than I expected. Recoil felt familiar in the best way. The slide kept moving even after it got gritty, and the gun never gave me that nervous little pause where you start wondering if the next round is going to hang up. That's where the Dagger earns its place. It's not here because it kills Glock. That phrase is tired. It's here because if you're skipping Glock and still want something simple, affordable, familiar, and proven enough to trust, the Dagger makes a stronger case than its price tag should allow. In 2026, that matters because hype fades fast. A pistol that keeps running does not. But the next one is even harder to defend because most shooters judge it before they ever fire a round. A lot of shooters still talk about the Beretta APX A1 like they heard one bad story years ago and never updated the file. I heard it too. Don't trust the APX. Beretta missed with that one. Get something safer. And for a while, I almost let that noise make the decision for me. Then I actually ran the A1. Not in some dramatic mud test. Just a long, honest range session where the pistol had to prove whether it belonged in 2026 or not. And what stood out wasn't one flashy feature. It was how calm the whole thing felt. The slide moved clean. The grip locked in better than I expected. The controls didn't feel like something I had to fight. Recoil stayed soft enough that follow-up shots didn't feel rushed or messy. Slow groups, faster strings, reloads, boring target work, it kept giving me the same answer. Smooth. My buddy started calling it the smooth operator before we even packed up. And honestly, the name stuck because nothing about the A1 felt nervous. By the end of that session, the old APX talk felt outdated. Not completely crazy, just old. The A1 didn't need me defending it. It just kept giving me clean hits, clean reloads, and no reason to put it down. That's the kind of trust I care about in a non-Glock 9mm. The moment where a pistol stops feeling like a risk and starts feeling like the one you should have tried sooner. I know the Taurus G2C is the one some people judge before I even finish the sentence. And I get it. It isn't trendy. It isn't the pistol guys brag about at the counter. But when we're talking about a 9mm that won't let you down in 2026, reliability isn't only about what happens when you press the trigger. It's also about whether you can keep the gun running without turning ownership into a headache. That's where the G2C surprised me. Not because it feels premium. It doesn't. But I've seen these things treated like cheap beaters, tossed in glove boxes, run with budget ammo, carried hard, and still do the basic job. Load, fire, cycle, repeat. I figured once newer Taurus models got attention, the G2C would slowly disappear. Magazines would dry up. Holsters would get annoying to find. Parts would become a backorder problem. But that never really happened. Mags are still around. Holsters are everywhere. Basic parts aren't some treasure hunt. You need a backup mag or something simple to keep it useful. You're not stuck begging customer service. The G2C doesn't feel fancy, and I'm not pretending it does. But it runs, it stays supported, and if you're skipping Glock on a budget, that matters more than the logo on the slide. But the next pistol proves reliability in a completely different way. Because sometimes trust isn't about surviving abuse. Sometimes it's about whether the gun leaves you any excuses at all. End of the day is when you learn what a pistol really is. Not when you're fresh, not when the camera's out. I mean, when the ammo box is almost empty, your focus is gone, and you're just trying to finish the last few rounds without embarrassing yourself. That's how the CZTS2 got me. My own pistol was already packed away, so I borrowed my buddy's. Didn't adjust anything, didn't care about the setup. I just loaded it, stepped in, and started shooting like a guy who was mentally already in the truck. Lazy grip. Half attention. Every excuse sitting right there. And the TS2 gave me none of them. When I drifted, the hit showed it. When I got sloppy, the target told on me. But the gun itself never changed. The trigger stayed clean, the weight stayed planted, and every shot felt like the pistol was saying, "Nope, that one was you." And that's a different kind of reliability. The TS2 isn't the carry pick for everybody, and I'm not pretending it is. But if you're skipping Glock and you want a 9mm that gives you absolute confidence in what happens after the trigger breaks, this thing is brutally honest. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't forgive you. It just tells the truth every single time. The Shield Plus is different because this one lives with me. Not in a range bag. Not as some pistol I borrowed for an afternoon. This is the one that rides in my holster, disappears under a shirt, and stays close enough that I never have to wonder where it is. A lot of pistols shoot fine on a clean bench. Carrying one every day is where the little things start telling on it. Does it snag? Does it print? Does the grip fight your hand? Does it feel like dead weight by the end of the day? The Shield Plus never gave me that problem. The draw feels natural now. The size is small enough to carry without thinking, but it still gives me enough grip to shoot like I mean it. I've run it fast, run it tired, and carried it through enough normal days to know it fits my routine instead of interrupting it. And no, I hope I never have to find out how it performs when everything goes wrong. But if I'm skipping Glock and choosing a 9mm to actually keep on me, this is the kind of confidence I want. It doesn't feel like a range crush. It feels like a daily decision. I stopped second guessing. And the last pistol is the only one I tried to dislike and still couldn't put down. The P365 XMacro earned the top spot for one reason. It makes the carry decision feel simple. This April, my old friend Lawrence was walking home from his office in Philadelphia. Late night, tired, just trying to get home. Then a guy stepped out from the shadows with a knife in his hand, and suddenly, the whole street felt smaller. Lawrence isn't some action hero. He's a regular guy with a regular job. But that night, he had the XMacro on his belt. That's where this pistol makes sense. It's compact enough to carry without fighting you all day, but it doesn't feel like a tiny panic gun when the moment turns ugly. The grip gives you something real to hold. The capacity gives you breathing room. The draw felt natural enough that he didn't have to think through every little movement while his heart was trying to climb out of his chest. No shot fired. The sight of the pistol was enough, and the guy ran. Lawrence called me later, still shaken, more grateful than proud. He said the report went to the local South District Police, and they took it seriously. That's why the XMacro sits at number 1. Not because it wins every internet argument, but because when you're skipping Glock and still want a carry 9mm that feels ready, this one makes the choice hard to fight. Some of you probably spent this whole video waiting to say it. No Glock, no list. Fair enough. But that was the point. I wanted to see what still stood up when the easiest answer was taken off the table. And by the end, the pistol I almost ignored was the one that made the strongest case. That's what makes this stuff interesting. Trust doesn't always come from the name everybody repeats. Sometimes it comes from the gun that keeps working, after you already decided not to care. So, now I want to hear yours. Which non-Glock 9mm surprised you, earned your trust, or made you question the usual picks? Drop the real range stories below. I'm Steve, and this search is never over.